once you pin your focus down on the problems that humans create that don't seem to be necessary, things that can be rectified, right? Because there's echelons. Actually, let me talk about this first. So there's echelons of the problems with the world. And the way I've ordered them is, one, things people create sort of intentionally, from the way they think and what they do as a result. Then there's things that happen naturally that people could be preventing, right? And then there's this sort of the mitigation, suffering that can never be eliminated, that it may be wrong to try to eliminate, like the suffering of losing a lover because they want someone else. Somebody passes away, you're always going to have to deal with those kinds of things. Society does have a role there too. There's counseling and various things to just deal with what's couldn't be prevented. Okay, so the first ones are the things man's doing kind of intentionally, and the biggest, most amazing, gigantic, and gross thing is who runs the show. Now, I used to think, when I was growing up, I was taught that somehow people got leaders organically from the process of the tribe and the idea of wise men and hunter chiefs, and this explains the violent, the aggro aspect of the people that run the show now. So they came up as the head hunters. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's all there in history. Eat a little ice. It's all there in history. You could just go read it. But if you go back to our governmental structure, which begins in the West, well, it begins, who knows when things absolutely begin. But at least a big point was the creation of the city-state. And the city-state, a local government for that city of people and businessmen in that city, which in Athens was democratic among those people. Lots of people were excluded. That grew out into a state somehow. And, basically, we inherited that governmental structure. So go back to that. What was that all about? Well, first of all, back then, even in good old liberal philosophical Athens, it was considered a perfectly decent business. This is powerful stuff. Please, somebody get this. I've said this so many times. And respond, deny, confirm, or deny. Because it's a truth that's right in our face that we're like, void to, it seems to me when I talk to people about it. But these people thought it was a perfectly good business practice to just get, 50, 100 guys together with some horses and weapons and go rape and pillage. I mean, you might as well be prospecting for iron ore or something. I mean, it's just like, well, if you could do it, if you could find the gold and you could pick it up and bring it back and sell it. Same thing with, well, if you could kick their ass, rape their women, take all their stuff and bring it back here to Athens, well, you're a good businessman. That's who fucking runs our show and has run our show for thousands of years now. Hello? That's organized crime right there. And that's where the city-state came from. These bands of villains from places like Athens and Rome and you name it, they basically got bored of going out there. They're like, do you really want us to come back in a month, or would you rather just send a guy into town with all the money we're going to steal, and then, less rapes? That's the government. That's where our government comes from. Now, just because that's its genesis doesn't mean that it's necessarily corrupt, right? It's been subject to waves of reform. It's like when you live in a system like that, those people were like, okay, we'll do that. We'll send a guy, but now if that guy attacks us, we want you to come, and sort of the legitimacy, what I think of as the legitimacy of the protection racket. The oldest racket for these guys is the protection racket. Well, the second oldest racket is the protection racket, where, I won't come rape and pillage you, but just send me the money. But I'm pretending to give you a service of protecting you. I'm really protecting you from myself. But guess what? There are other villains out there. Suddenly I get an obligation to protect you from those other villains. I'm violent. The protection job is violent. It's right up my alley. And there, thousands of years later, you have our present system. But it comes directly from, I don't think there's another word for it besides organized crime. that is organized crime. And you can forgive those people and say, well, they didn't know any better, or whatever you want to do. But it's organized crime. What they're doing, that's where our system comes from. And that's one of the biggest problems in the world, is that all we've ever done is try to reform that system, which is so inherently corrupt in its design, so inherently built on slavery. I'm not surprised that no matter how much you reform that, when you turn the wheels of a system like that, however much you've replaced the hard parts with padded parts, or whatever you've done to soften it up, that what you get out is nothing but at best a lightened down slavery. I'm not surprised. That's the biggest problem in the world. Now, you solve that problem, you're going to have tons of the other problems solved. But unfortunately, you put it the other way, that you have to solve those tons of other problems one at a time to get the whole thing solved. I think there are a few key cornerstones in this. Personally, I have practically a faith in the idea that if you personally get yourself out of command and control hierarchy thinking, in other words, you change how you think of authority, you adopt ideas like that there is no such thing as the government, right? It's sort of an illusion, like seeing a face in the cloud. What there are is a bunch of government bureaucrats. Each one has individual powers. You have your vote. It's all an interchanging machine. Things like this, and you'll have ways to understand your place in the system without thinking of it in terms of authority hierarchies. I think that use of hierarchy in cognition is just a little cornerstone where when you change that, it changes the way you think about everything else. And a lot of these institutions, and they seem like rock solid. My theory is that they would crumble if people mastered non-hierarchical thinking, especially in terms of command and control, architecture, structures for nervous control. We need to figure out distributed solutions for all that stuff, and then we can live as free organs and individuals within that distribution.